Welcome into College Football Now. I am your host, Harrison Graham. Today's show, we're talking Tom Herman replacements as Texas' next head coach. Now, Herman has not been fired as of yet, and there's a decent chance he actually doesn't get fired because Texas has appeared to have swung and missed on Urban Meyer. Chip Brown reports that ship has pretty much sailed at this point, but Texas athletic director is reportedly doing some research on some candidates, Chris Del Conte, that is. So I would say at this point, it's about 50-50 on whether or not Herman will be back because he does have a $25 million buyout. Boosters were ready to pay that for Urban Meyer. Will they do that for another candidate? I'm not sure that's actually going to be the case. Now, you look at Herman at Texas, it hasn't been a complete disaster like Charlie Strong was, in which Strong literally had the worst record in Texas head coaching history for any coach in the history of the university. Herman's 31-18 overall. We thought he was turning a corner in 2018, won the Sugar Bowl that year, got Texas back to the Big 12 title game, regressed to last year. It's been up and down this year at 6-3. He's been above average, but Texas isn't an above-average job. It's an elite job. You expect 10-plus wins every single year, and Tom Herman's only been able to accomplish that one time. So what should Texas do with Tom Herman? Type K for keep him. Type F for fire him. I've watched Texas football my entire life. My dad played football at Texas. This is not the standard. I would type my F for fire, but we'll make this the pinned comment on today's show, and you guys can decide right there. All right, so we're going to get into some potential replacements for Tom Herman if Chris Del Conte and Texas decide to go in a new direction. 5 college candidates and 4 NFL candidates as well. We'll start with the college names here because I think these are the names that could be most likely. Number 5, how about Luke Fickell at Cincinnati? He's done a great job taking over that job and being creating probably the best group of 5 program in the country at Cincinnati. I would say they've surpassed UCF at this point. Fickell is a hot commodity. I think he would have potentially be in the mix for the Michigan job as well. Cincinnati is a top 20 program at this point. The last 2, 3, 4 years, Fickell's done great. He was the interim at Ohio State. I think he would like that job down the line. So maybe he's going to wait and see what happens here, but he will get Power 5 offers. Will Texas come calling? I think he's a guy they should at least interview. Now, what is the better job? Because Jim Harbaugh's on the hot seat at Michigan. Tom Herman's on the hot seat at Texas. What do you guys think? Is it Texas or Michigan? Type T if you think Texas is the better job. M if it's Michigan. Keep in mind, a lot of politics you have to deal with if you are the head coach of the University of Texas. Not many guys have been able to handle it well. Tom Herman, not one of them. So T for Texas, M for Michigan. Next up is Mario Cristobal, the head coach out at Oregon. Would he be ready for an even higher profile job in Austin, Texas? He's done a good job with the Ducks. They haven't played that well this year, but it's a rebuilding year, and the Pac-12 is only playing like 5 or 6 games. So I'm going to kind of throw this year out the window for Cristobal, and plus they lost Justin Herbert and a lot of their defense from last year. He's a great recruiter. Is he a great game day coach? That I'm not so sure about. He's recruited really well for the Ducks, so that would help because I think Tom Herman needs to recruit better if he wants to stay at Texas. But Cristobal, I think, is an intriguing name. I know he's linked to the Michigan opening as well, potentially. He's a name to watch out for the Texas head coaching vacancy if it becomes open. Third guy here, how about Steve Sarkisian? Chip Brown reports that Sarkisian has, that Chris Del Conte has done research on Cristobal and Sarkisian. So they're at least interest. There's some interest from Texas on Sark. Sark after dark in Austin, who says no? Did a great job of turning around Washington. Then he took the USC job. I think that gig got to his head a little bit. It wasn't as easy as he thought it might be. He had the drinking issue. It appears he's past that. He's doing a great job as Alabama's offensive coordinator, leading one of the best offenses in the country for the past couple of years. I think he'll get a second chance. Is Texas willing to gamble on Steve Sarkisian with his history? I'm not so sure, but they've done research, so he has to be on this list. Now get subscribed to Chat Sports because we've got all the coaching hot boards. When a major job opens up, even some of the minor jobs, we're going to have a video on it and some potential candidates. We have the latest college football playoff rankings coming out every single week. Join us for live shows on Tuesday for that. Recruiting news and rumors and more coverage as well. We do it all here on Chat Sports, so go ahead and subscribe if you want more college football coverage. Number 2 is James Franklin. Chris Del Conte is a big fan of his. That is the report on Franklin when it comes to Texas. Obviously, Penn State's not having a good year. They're 1-5, but they lost a bunch of close games. He's done a good job at Penn State. But kind of like Herman in the Big 12, James Franklin hasn't been able to get over the hump in the Big 10, right? I think he's beaten Ohio State once, but hasn't been able to, get into the college football playoff, which is what you're shooting for if you're Texas. Whoever you hire, if you're the Longhorns, if you move on from Herman, it's about getting over the Oklahoma hump and winning the Big 12. Can James Franklin do that? We will have to wait and see if he gets that opportunity. And number one, and I think he's going to be high on a lot of lists, including NFL teams, is Matt Campbell at Iowa State. He is on a very similar trajectory to that of Matt Rule, in which that he took over Toledo's job, made them a really good Group of Five program, takes over Iowa State, turns a dormant program into not just relevant, but into the Big 12 title game this year. Iowa State is playing for a conference championship in 2020 for the first time in over 100 years. Matt Campbell has done a great job. In year one, he took over a disaster, went 3-9, but he's got 4 straight winning seasons here, and like I said, a conference championship appearance in 2020. He'll get his chance to beat Oklahoma and win the Big 12. Iowa State, before he took over, had 1 winning season the previous 10 years, and it was a 7-6 season. Matt Campbell's had 4 straight, including 8-2 this year. He's done fantastic for Iowa State. 3 8+ winning seasons and a chance to win 10 games this year in a shortened schedule. That is very impressive for Matt Campbell. I think Texas should be very interested in the Iowa State head coach. He's built a great culture, and he gets the most out of his players, something that has been a problem at Texas. So pick a candidate. These are the top 2 college candidates we've got on today's show. Type MC for Matt Campbell. Type JF for James Franklin. I like Franklin. I think he'd be a good hire. I think Matt Campbell has the potential to be a home run hire. Certainly a little less certainty. He hasn't had a major Power 5 job, but I like his energy. I think he's going to be a star in the coaching profession. I'm typing MC for Matt Campbell. Now, we'll get into some NFL candidates in just a sec, but first, we got face coverings on sale, including these Texas ones for you Horns fans at chatsports.com/CFB masks. We got solo ones all the way up to 3-packs. We got this 2-pack Ohio State, South Carolina as well, but all the major college football teams, even some of the smaller schools as well. It's all at the same link, chatsports.com/CFB masks. The 3-packs are the best bang for your buck. They're all on sale right now, so check the comments. Check the description. It's chatsports.com/CFB masks. Chatsports.com/CFB masks. All right, let's take a look at some NFL candidates. Brian Schottenheimer, his name gets brought up from time to time. I don't think he's a strong candidate for this job. He didn't let Russ cook until this season in Seattle. I wouldn't be a big fan of this one. Eric Bieniemy, that's a different story, although I think he wants an NFL head coaching job, the Chiefs offensive coordinator. He's done a great job. Andy Reid's given him his seal of approval. He's publicly said, hey, this guy deserves to be a head coach. I think he will be, probably in the NFL, but hey, he's probably worth calling. He turned down the Colorado job last year, his alma mater. Maybe Texas would intrigue him a little bit, but I think he's likely going to stay in the NFL. And we got a couple of more NFL names to talk about, but first, should Texas hire an NFL coach? Type Y for yes, type N for no. Would certainly be a different direction in what they've done in recent memory, but hey, nothing is off the table if you're Texas. You're trying to get the right guy in there. So type Y for yes or type N for no. Joe Brady, who basically is a college guy, or he was a year ago, he was the LSU passing game coordinator when Joe Burrow set every record known to mankind in 2019. He's done a good job with the Panthers this year, in my opinion, with Teddy Bridgewater. Matt Rule hired him as his offensive coordinator in Carolina. Joe Brady's a rising star in this industry. I think you would actually consider Texas pretty strongly, so that's a guy I would call. If you want to get an elite offensive mind, which you thought Tom Herman was, Joe Brady might be your guy. In the ultimate dark horse, how about Kyle Shanahan? Went to Texas, played receiver for him back in the day. Obviously, he's one of the top head coaches in the NFL, so it would take a lot to pry him away. But if you offer him $10 million a year and give him like a 7-year contract, Jimbo Fisher style, that might change things if you're Kyle Shanahan. Plus, he's got question marks at quarterback with Jimmy Garoppolo. Maybe the Texas job and going down to the college level would be intriguing. I don't expect it, but that's a dark horse candidate there. I think there could be a possibility if Texas brings out the bags of cash, if you know what I'm saying. Who do you want as Texas' next head coach? We're going to leave you with this question. I went through some candidates. And reminder, Tom Herman might be back next year. Now that Texas has missed on Urban Meyer, they may not pay that buyout. They may give Herman another season in 2021. But if they don't, who do you want Texas to hire to replace him? Maybe I'm forgetting some names. Go ahead and let me know in the comments section.